fight alone will make us rich beyond our wildest dreams.
Things I want to say. It's right. It's like when you're so full and you can't swallow, so you can't take another bite. Like everything I have to say about this movie is like right at the top of my throat right now. Anyway, sorry, Steven. Please introduce this podcast. Take it away.
Thank you for your permission. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh God. I don't even know how to start this thing.
We did a cold open and he doesn't know how to start the podcast.
I gave you time, Steven.
I know. That's why I hadn't hit record yet, because I was looking for a fucking quote to open this thing with, and you're just like, hit record now. And I'm like, fine. You asked for this. This is your fault.
Wowzers, yeah.
Hee-haw, Western.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
There's a snake in my boots. It's the Disenfranchised podcast.
All right.
We're that podcast all about those franchises of one, those films that fancy themselves full-fledged franchises before falling flat on their face after the first film. I am your host, Stephen Foxworthy, and joining me, as always, the man who we always wonder how he gets through life with a face like that, it's Tucker. Hey, Tucker.
Oh, hi, Stephen. How's it going?
Oh, it goes.
That's good. It's very windy here tonight.
Yeah.
So if I just drop out and you don't hear from me for a while, it's because my power went out and I'm outside digging out my generator.
Sounds fun.
So we got the generator set up this year.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just sitting outside. And we didn't think to like put it under something.
No, why would you?
So now it's and it hasn't gotten below like 30 degrees in a month here, and the snow has just been like piling on. So it's under about 3 feet of snow right now, my generator. So I really hope my electricity doesn't go out.
We also hope that. That would not be the first time that's happened, and yeah. So
every time I hear that gust of wind, I'm like, oh shit, is this the one? Is this it? So far, it's been fine though.
Also joining me tonight, the man who looks at 5 coffins and thinks it should probably be 8, especially after spending time with us. It's our very good friend, Brett Wright. Hey, Brett, how's it going tonight, buddy?
Hello, Stephen.
There it is. A salve for my weary soul.
Yes, indeed.
Truly, we love to hear it. Brett, always a pleasure to have you back. And thank you for joining us on this most auspicious episode.
Is this why? Why is it?
Because you're here.
Why?
That's why it's auspicious.
Oh, okay. I thought there was some other reason they were covering this terrible movie, which, spoilers, I didn't finish it. I'm going to tell you that right now. 'Cause, like,
Really?
Then you missed the worst part, Brett.
Look, man, I got a lot of shitty things to say about the first hour of this movie, and they're not.
Which is the bearable one, honestly. That's the bearable part of the movie.
I saw the writing on the wall. I was like, this can only go down from here. And I got work to do, and I don't have the mental capacity for this. So I didn't finish it. Look, much like David Spade in his SNL 50 sketch, I got the gist.
Just sat down.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest here, Brett. That's the wildest thing is that this is probably one of the shortest movies we've ever covered for the podcast.
Pootie Tang is 10 minutes shorter.
Oh my, Pootie Tang that's barely a feature. Good Lord.
I know.
This movie is 80 minutes long.
But God, I'd rather watch Pootie Tang like 5 times.
I mean, I too would also much rather watch Pootie Tang
than watch this film, which is very upsetting. But we all know how upset I get about, adaptation movies completely throwing out the source material.
Yeah.
So just chucking the source material out the window.
I mean, for the most part, yeah. I mean, they keep some things, like there's a guy named Jonah Hex who has a disfigured face.
There's that.
He's in the Old West.
Yeah. And he fought in the Civil War.
Yeah, for the Confederacy.
For both sides for a minute. That's what they don't mention.
Right.
He's a traitor to both sides. But
that's his whole thing.
Yeah. but I don't. Never mind. We'll get into that later. I got too much to say. I don't have a lot of time to say it.
I can't fucking wait, Brett. I'm so excited. I'm glad you're here to cover 2010's Jonah Hex, a film directed by Jimmy Hayward in his live-action film debut. Jimmy Hayward.
Who dat?
That is the director of this film. We're going to get into him more.
Yeah, but
with a screenplay by Neville Dean and Taylor, starring Josh Brolin, John Malkovich, Megan Fox, Michael Fassbender, Will Arnett, Michael Shannon. Blinking, you fucking miss Michael Shannon in this movie. Although I don't know how anyone could miss Michael Shannon in this movie. Wes Bentley, Aidan Quinn, the late great Lance Reddick, John Gallagher Jr., Tom Wopat, Julia Jones, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and yes, that is him, Rance Howard.
This fucking cast does not deserve this movie.
This cast is
the movie doesn't?
The movie doesn't deserve either way.
There you go.
It doesn't matter. The movie doesn't deserve this cast.
The cast does not deserve this movie on their resumes, I think is what he was trying to say.
I see.
This movie doesn't deserve to exist there. How about that?
Yeah. So Jimmy Hayward, let's answer your initial question, Tucker. Jimmy Hayward was a Pixar animator. He had worked on Toy Story, A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo. He also
always go well, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Brad, like Tomorrowland, John Carter.
I was gonna say, yeah. Now Brad Bird did direct a pretty serviceable Mission Impossible film, so I will give him that.
Which one did he do?
He did, I think, Ghost Protocol. No, that was J. Abrams. He did Ghost Protocol,
the one where he had to hold his breath for a long time.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I only remember the ones based on their stunts. And when Henry Cavill cocks his fists, I fucking love that. I love it so much.
Fucking rad as shit.
So cool. And there's like an explanation behind it and everything. Like, oh yeah, there's interviews with him where he's like explaining it. And you're like, I believe you. You didn't even have to tell me. I believe you.
Henry Cavill, it just looks fucking rad. Just shut up and let us enjoy it. Just sit down, son.
So cool.
You're doing great.
Yes.
And then he did sequence editor sequence director for a future episode of this podcast, Robots. Robots. The Ewan McGregor animated film where he's a robot.
There's isn't Robin Williams in that?
I think yes, and Halle Berry and Mel Brooks and Greg Kinnear.
So, 2 summers ago, my friend Ray, who used to work here, I was listening to my playlist that has just like every song I like on it. There's thousands of songs on this playlist, and I'll shuffle it sometimes. And straight up, Tom Waits came on 16 Shells from a 30-06.
Fucking A. Love Tom Waits.
And she was like, wait, this sounds like the Robots guy. I'm like, fuck you mean the Robots guy? And apparently he has
I would have accepted the Mystery Men guy.
Or the Wrist Cutters guy. He was good in that too.
Even the Domino guy, I would accept.
The Coffee and Cigarettes guy?
That too, yes.
Groundhog Day, ghost busting ass Bill Murray. Fucking Coffee and Cigarettes.
I love Tom Waits. Tom Waits is the man.
Yeah.
Swordfish Trombones is a top 5 album of all time for me.
That's a really good record. Yeah. But I couldn't believe that someone knew Tom Waits from a children's movie. That just struck me as really wild.
Yeah, that's really bizarre. Wild. That's really awesome.
Get on Tom Waits? Oh, Robots. His directorial debut is future episode of this podcast, Horton Hears a Who. Really?
Yes, he follows that up with this movie. This is his second film ever. And then his third and likely final film, or potentially final film, is the 2013 film Free Birds, which I don't know if we'll cover on this podcast or not.
It's the turkey movie. It's with turkeys?
Yes, correct. With
Chicken
Amy
Run with
Poehler and
turkeys?
Woody Harrelson and Owen Wilson. Yes.
But I do love Chicken
Um,
Run.
and then he got diagnosed with cancer in April 2023 with
Oh,
bone
that's
cancer,
sad.
and
That sucks.
did actually end up surviving. Has now been declared cancer free, which we
Oh, sweet.
love.
That's
Good job,
fantastic.
Jimmy. We don't like this movie, but we like you. So yeah,
Speak for yourselves. Speak for yourselves, because
I am.
I don't care about this movie. Like, here's the weird thing about this movie. I had a really good time watching it, and there were particular parts where I was like, man, that's pretty cool. And that's real dumb, but like I'm kind of rolling with it because it's also kind of cool. But it's a mess.
It's definitely that.
Kind of lost my train of thought there. I had a bigger point.
It's if somebody was like, hey, like they took the Wild Wild West movie. Somebody's like, hey, could you make Wild Wild West again? And they were like, sure. Like,
See?
let me copy your homework, but don't like make it obvious.
I was getting mad Wild Wild West 5. The only difference is Kenneth Branagh is having a good time and John Malkovich is not.
Well,
That's true.
another difference is, I remembered what I was saying before, is that I lost it again, you guys. I straight up lost it again right then. Can you believe that? Wild
Tucker, do
Wild
you have
West, it would be.
do you have a
what?
pen?
I haven't hit it once. I haven't hit, it's just
I
sitting
mean
here.
a pen that you can write an idea down with
Oh.
once the thought occurs to you.
I have notes about things I do want to say about this movie. But
Just
no, I
not
was saying,
this thing that you've been trying to say for 10 minutes?
no, because it comes and as I'm building it up again, it goes away.
Just
It's
say
happened
it.
3 times while we've been talking in the last like 20 seconds.
Just fucking say it and then double back to build it back
the
up.
thing is, I had a really good time watching this movie, but as soon as it was over, I didn't give a fuck about it.
Right.
I will never think, if we weren't doing this podcast about it, I would never think of it again. I had a blast. That's why I felt like I was like, hey, I should put down some notes because this is gonna like go right out the back of my brain as soon as the credits start rolling.
Yeah.
It's super duper disposable. So disposable in a way that's almost frustrating.
Right.
But I still think that it would be worth revisiting as a triple feature with Maverick and Wild Wild West. And I don't know what order I'd put them in.
As the worst of those 3 movies, agreed.
No, it objectively, yeah, it is. But I think it would.
The order is Maverick, Wild Wild West, and way down, like down further than the other 2. Like go a little bit, like maybe a few miles lower.
Subterranean. We're underground at this point.
In watch order, though, I'm going the opposite way. I'm starting with Jonah Hex so I can get the worst one out of the way first, then going Wild Wild West, then Maverick.
You don't want the last memory of that trilogy to be this.
Well,
not that this will inspire memory.
No, that's the thing, is I think it would be better the other way around, where you watch Maverick first and then Wild Wild West and then Jonah Hex, because you start with something good and kind of grounded. You move on to Wild Wild West, which gets silly and kind of not good, but still really enjoyable, to ease you into Jonah Hex, which is it's everything that made those other 2 films fun to watch. It's that just like strained through the filter so much, but it's still very much the same vibe. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. And the soundtrack, boys, what was that psych doom metal soundtrack doing in this movie?
Well, apparently Jimmy Hayward's a big Mastodon fan.
That was, I don't know. I understand how that would take some people out of it, and I get why maybe it doesn't work, but boy, it was working for me.
There are times when it worked, but most of the time I could have just left it.
So much fuzz on that bass. Like, I was only one of the only times I've had to turn my sound bar down while watching a movie, just because that bass was so dirty, dude. It was nasty.
It was really gross.
And I do love a nasty tone.
You do.
So, like, just tonally speaking, with the music, I was set up to enjoy. It was really kind of blowing my mind.
So this is week 3 of our 4-week American superheroes kind of theme month. Our first of probably 2 or 3 consecutive theme months that we have on the books
really?
right now. Yeah. Next month is a Brett centric theme month. Wink. And then the month after that,
it is.
also a Brett centric theme month. Wink. We're doing everything we can to get Brett back in the driver's seat here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the first I'm hearing about this.
No, it's not, because you chose everything we're covering next
I'm
month.
being told this for the first time right here on the podcast.
Brett, I literally said for the theme month next month, I said, give me 4 movies in this particular subgenre, and you handpicked the 4.
Cool. Yeah, I don't remember any of that.
Cool.
So
I think I'm sick in April. I think I'm scheduled to be sick in April. So,
man,
I don't know if I can make it to any of those recordings, dude.
So what's going on? Hold on. Let me just check the calendar. I mean,
Brett's
checking the calendar.
Brett checking the calendar in real time. I love this.
Easiest way for me to figure out what the hell's going on here.
April,
okay.
All 4 of those.
March. Yeah,
That's
March. Yeah, that makes sense.
Big
Yep,
fucking
yeah, that
no.
makes sense too.
Actually,
Yep. No, March totally makes sense. I get that. Yep.
Yeah,
you
picked all of those, Brett.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The first half of April, I'm not sick, but the second half, I'm definitely sick.
Well, one of those we're going to have to switch out because one of our guests had to cancel in early April.
No.
I mean, the last episode of April, I could see me choosing, but the other 3, I'm not really sure what you're talking about.
I mean, I picked those, but the whole theme month is a Brett theme month.
Yeah, really. No, March is my month. Really, it's just
it is.
Yeah, March. Yeah, I guess I got to be there for all of those, don't I?
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice. It would be nice if you could be there for all of March and all of April. Honestly.
Well, we'll see about April, but I got a lot going on in April, but we'll see about March.
See. April is the cruelest month.
And blue is the warmest color. What? So what is everyone's history with the character and comics of Jonah Hex? Brett, you seem
Steven,
like
I'm glad you asked. So let me start by saying that I have been a Jonah Hex fan for quite some time.
Fucking A!
Now, I mean, to be fair, I was not. I mean, I got in the 90s, like I did for everything comic book based. So like I came in which if I recall, my memory's real shit, so people forgive me. When he was starting to interact with the rest of the DC universe because of some crises on various Infinite Earths, and some time travel fuckery.
We do love that time travel fuckery.
So you know, me being a fan of the Western genre, mainly the spaghetti Western variety, but that's where Jonah Hex firmly falls. Or the Weird West, or the Dark West, whatever genre you want to call it. Which is just, you know, Western stories with supernatural shit.
Right. You do love that supernatural shit.
I do. Shout out to Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Saving people, hunting things, the family business.
Which I got that drilled into my head because Ash and I are watching through Supernatural, her for the first time,
yes,
for the millionth time. So,
yes,
yeah.
I stopped at season 5 when I did my watch through a few years ago.
It's the canonical ending of the show. Blah, blah, blah.
That's
it
for
gets
you,
better,
Tucker.
Steven. It gets so
Tucker,
much better. It turns into a well-oiled machine.
Well, sometimes it does, and then other times the well-oiled machine falls apart for a little bit, and then they put it back together, and it's a well-oiled machine again.
It's the first half of season 7 sucks. Outside of that, it just keeps getting better.
I mean,
if Mitch Pileggi's there, just like turn around and walk the other way. But whenever he's not there, which hurts me because I love
Mitch Pileggi. Mitch Pileggi's my boy.
He's the best. But like that first half of season 7, woof, the fuck out of here, Grandpa. Damn.
Yeah, there's yeah. Look, it stops taking
so much
itself
better.
over the course of the series. It stops taking itself seriously more and more and more until you get to the Scooby Doo episode, and then it's just like complete off the wall bullshit, and it's
Right.
great. It's 100% great. I love it. But we're halfway through season 2 right now.
Okay.
So, she wasn't a huge fan of season 1 because season 1 really takes itself too seriously.
It drags a
Um,
bit. It
yeah.
surely does.
But anyway,
Well, I think if you don't have season 1 to set up all of those emotions, the relationship
Sure.
between Sam and Dean, the sillier stuff doesn't come off as sincere as it would without it. And I think that's
Right.
why the latter seasons they do all that silly shit, but it never really feels like they jumped the shark because the characters are so grounded and those relationships are still like very strong and easy to see. That's why I say a well-oiled machine, because these motherfuckers, they could do this show in their sleep and it would still be phenomenal.
Yeah, which they have an
COVID killed
episode
the
called
ending, though.
Jumping the
Unfortunately,
Shark. They do
yeah,
have an
it's
episode
true. They
called
do.
Jumping the Shark. It's pretty funny.
The French Mistake is my favorite.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, COVID did kill the ending. The ending we were supposed to get sounded amazing.
So much better. Yeah.
But thanks to COVID, nobody's happy about it. But anyway, back to Jonah Hex.
Sorry, I forget about Supernatural sometimes, and when somebody brings it up, I'm like, oh fuck, I love that so much.
So, Steven, I encourage you to watch the other 10 seasons after season 5.
Who the fuck has time to watch 10 seasons of television? Good lord.
We do, apparently.
Apparently. And those are like 22 episode seasons, too.
Man, you watch an episode or two while you're eating dinner, and you're good. Like, what? I mean, come on. It's fine. You don't have to, like, binge it. Like,
yeah, you don't have to binge it. It could take you years. No big whoop. It took them years to make it. Like, after season 3, I watched it as it aired. So your boy was his ass on the couch for about half of that, and then just streaming it the rest.
Yeah, like we're probably if she doesn't get burnt out, if she doesn't tap out of it like I did Game of Thrones at the end, then like I tapped out of Game of Thrones in season 6. But as long as she doesn't tap out at some point, then we're watching Supernatural for like maybe the rest of our lives. Who knows?
And that episode from the perspective of the car, like they just
god, that's such a good episode. Like you'd think that like an episode from the perspective of their car would not be good, but goddamn,
it's so good. That's the thing about another thing about them being on for so long is they've done everything. So in the later seasons, they get so fucking creative. And I mean, some of the times they miss, but most of the time, boy, it's real good. It's wow. Just thinking about watching that show makes me happy because like I had such a good time watching it. I miss my boys. I do.
So yeah,
miss those Winchester boys.
Look, Steven, we promise. You'd like it. You'd have a good time.
You'd like it a lot.
I enjoyed the first 5 seasons. I just looked at the rest.
Watch 10 more.
I looked at the rest of the order and I went, you know what? I don't have time for that.
You're a third of the way there.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Close. I don't know.
All right. Well, Tucker and I disagree. So you're outvoted. So you now have to watch.
What else is new?
Gotta do.
You and Tucker are agreeing on something. Wow.
Don't you just love it when I'm back?
That never happens.
Man, it's great. Anyway, Jonah Hex.
Jonah Hex.
We're back to Jonah Hex, unfortunately. So anyway, let me just start by saying he never had the ability to speak to the dead in the comics. Nope. What the fuck was that?
What?
Because apparently they just had to give him something cool because he's a quote unquote DC superhero.
I was going to say it's a comic book movie, so he has to have powers. I think the logic
can't just be a badass gunslinger guy like he is in the comics. He has to have some sort of special power.
Not that it really makes a lot of impact on the plot here, but yeah,
it's fun. It's a fun power.
Yeah, like if this movie hadn't been named Jonah Hex, I bet I would have liked it more. Because
I really liked how he brought back that guy's brother, and like they had a very like reasonable conversation, even though there was like a lot of emotion between them. Like they were still both very reasonable while they were talking, but like you guys, this
Like
movie has so
Jeffrey
much
Dean Morgan.
potential. I think this is I think this is another one of those movies like Blair Witch 2. Is it's not that it's good, it's just that when I watch it, I see how good it could be. Like I'm like, man, the potential on this motherfucker. Ooh,
Maybe that's your superpower. You can see a movie's potential.
I
Blair Witch
agree.
2,
This does
kind
have
of.
potential, but when I look at it, I see all the potential it wasted rather than all the potential it has.
So many good ideas just ruined by so many inconsistencies.
By a bunch of bullshit.
I mean, artistic inconsistencies. I mean, like the cinematography and the editing in this movie are so inconsistent. 1 minute it'll be something where you're like, that's kind of a cool shot, and that was a really cool transition. And then the next minute, it's like, do these people even know what they're doing?
Well, and we'll get into it, but there's a lot of behind the scenes shit on this movie that is that I think is part of the reason why it fails as spectacularly as it does.
This is like, in Hook when the one lost boy is like, there you are, Peter. And like, that's me with this movie. Like, it's not what it should be, but I can see it in there. I'm like, there you are, a good movie. I see you in there. I know not everybody can, but I see you.
Tucker's like smashing all the wrinkles down on this movie.
Yeah.
There's too many. There's too many. But anyway,
So
back
many
to
wrinkles.
my.
Sorry, Brett. Continue.
But,
Yes, Brett, please.
This is what I'm here for, to keep us on track. How do
I
you guys do
apologize
without
for
me here?
I apologize for Tucker's behavior. He is being very rude and insensitive tonight.
I'm the worst.
How dare you? Anyway, I come back to the show, and this is the welcome I get.
I was gonna say, Brett, like you asked how we do it without you. I will tell you, not well at all.
That's what I've heard.
We are
Anyway. I'm lying. I haven't heard anything. I don't listen to this show. Anyway. But anyway, look. So, and I mean, I did read up on the end of this movie. I hear that Megan Fox's character is actually a character from the comics, and that makes me even angrier.
Ish.
What, they have the same name. I mean, they don't look the same at all, and it's really just the writers probably going, we need to make this character significant somehow. I know, we'll name her after his girlfriend in the comics.
Right.
So there's that. I mean, the way he gets his scar is dumb in the movie. Which they tried. Here's the weird thing. I don't know if they just didn't want to like have any sort of Native American stereotypes. Maybe they didn't want to do that.
You missed that part, Brett, because they absolutely do.
Oh, great. So then them changing his origin is completely useless. Cool.
Correct.
No,
they did it so they could have a villain attached to the origin, like, every other superhero out there.
Right. Okay. Got it. Okay. Well,
it's the same reason why they made the Joker the killer of Batman's parents in Batman 89, because they need the villain to tie into the origin.
Yeah, well, at least in that case, there's been some discussion about, is that just how Batman sees every villain? Like, there's a bit ambiguity there. There's like, was it really him, or is that just how Batman sees everybody?
Sure.
Like, but in this, it's just like, no, straight up, we're just gonna fuck up his origin because we need to.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll reference it by him using the heated tomahawk to cut off the branding.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? I mean, sure, whatever.
I think they didn't want to make the Native Americans the villains, but they do come along and heal him later and make
they're not villains,
crow
though.
fly out of his mouth.
In the origin, they're not villains.
Well, the one guy is.
I mean, so how much do you know? How much do you know about the origin of Jonah Hex?
Simply what I have researched in preparation for this podcast. Jonah Hex is not one of my guys.
This is all new to me. I've never seen anything outside of Batman Brave and the Bold, the cartoon. He shows up a few times. I don't know anything about Jonah Hex.
Okay, so
Just want to
School us,
speed
Brett.
run
Take
through
us to
my
school.
history so that you could really give us the lore here.
Well, from what I've heard, his origin gets wonky later, but like what comic book character's origin doesn't get wonky later.
Correct.
So his original origin is that his mom leaves because his dad's a terrible alcoholic. His dad eventually sells him into slavery to an Indian tribe because he is to pay off his gambling debts because he's a terrible alcoholic. So the Native American tribe that he is sold to, him and his adopted brother, I guess, both have feelings for the same woman. And so they fight and he leaves. I think that he leaves to go fight in the Civil War.
Right.
He similar to the movie. This is something that writers of the comics explore much better than this movie does. Why he doesn't like the government and just, is cool with, what the South wants to do because fuck the government.
Correct.
But then over time realizes like, well, the South, it's not so much fuck the government as we just want to keep owning slaves. So he's, as a former slave himself, he's like, wait a minute, hold on.
Right.
This is not what I signed up for.
Well, and there's this. Did you get to the scene with Lance Reddick, Brett?
I did. Yes.
That's the part where he absolves him of any racism.
Right.
Yeah.
That's his whole part in this movie is being like, Jonah Hex, you not racist.
That's it. Literally, that's why that part's in the movie.
Which is what I mean. Like, it's what,
in case you were wondering if Jonah Hex was racist, we're gonna have a black guy tell you that he's not. So we're good, right?
And not just any black guy, Lance motherfucking Reddick.
Oh, it means a lot coming from Lance Reddick.
It does.
Really does.
Yeah.
Gravitas. The man just oozes gravitas. That's what he's there for.
He does. R.I.P.
Absolutely.
But that's what I mean by like the movie does a shittier job of what better comic book writers tried to do over time is sort of explore that better.
I mean, redemption is, from what I understand, a big part of the character's arc, like altogether. Like redemption is kind of like the thing that drives him.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love a good redemption arc.
That's why he has such a strong code of, like he has a Batman level code of ethics. Like he will defend the innocent to a fault.
Yo, but a lot of people die in this movie. Like a lot.
Well,
but John Malkovich be killing all those motherfuckers.
Dying. Trains full, towns full of people.
Yeah.
People coming out of church, man. There were kids on that train, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So many people died. Like, is there anybody left in the U.S. after this movie?
President Grant, Lance Reddick, and his kids. That's it.
Pretty much.
God, if only they gotten what's his nuts from Wild Wild West to play President Grant.
Kevin Kline?
Kevin Kline.
Yeah. That would have been fantastic.
Oh, that's his nuts. Gotcha.
Yeah. I couldn't think of his name, but isn't he married to Jamie Lee Curtis?
No, that's Christopher Guest. Kevin Kline is married to Phoebe Cates of Gremlins.
There it is. There it is. Sorry. Please, Brett.
Gremlins, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Brett.
Yeah. Anyway, he deserts. Which, I mean, the movie gets this part of the origin right, at least. He does desert his platoon. He surrenders to a Union garrison, but then finds out that the general of that Union garrison is also a corrupt piece of shit. Attempts to kill him, but the Union soldiers don't know that their general is a corrupt piece of shit. So they're like, this Southern defector is a spy, and so now he's a traitor to both sides.
Right. A man without a country.
Basically, yeah. But for some reason continues to wear the Southern colors. Who knows why that is? I'm sure they explored in the comics, but the movie sure doesn't.
Movie doesn't care.
No, the movie doesn't care. It's just a cool outfit, right?
Right.
This is what he looks like in the
He's
comics.
not racist. It doesn't matter. He's not racist.
Lance
Reddick told us he's not racist. It's whatever. Right.
Lance Reddick's like, look, you didn't like slaves. You just didn't like the government telling you what to do.
So the Union garrison fucks him up real bad, but it just so happens that the old Native American tribe that rescued him again. And so this time, he's not taking his adopted brother's shit and fights him in Mortal Kombat. So the brother tries to cheat, though, and give him like a broken tomahawk.
Right, defective tomahawk.
So Jonah figures this out and murders the dude with a knife, which is against the rules of this Native American Mortal Kombat.
Right. You have to like stick with the weapon you brung or something.
Yeah, the weapon you're given has to be a tomahawk. So as penance, he is disfigured on the side of his face with a superheated tomahawk. So that's how he gets his scars, as the Joker would say. Another DC Comics character. See what I did there, folks?
Hey, you did it.
That's what we call synergy, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. But after that, I mean, the beginning of the movie isn't too much different than what he does on a regular basis. The dude is just a bounty hunter. Who just has like Batman level quote unquote powers just because he did what Batman did. Like he just trained and went through all this shit as a regular dude for so long that he's just like really good at what he does.
He's like an expert marksman, and
Oh yeah, wait, Lance Reddick also made him weapons. I forgot because he was so busy absolving him from racism. I forgot that he was like his Q.
And not only was he absolving Jonah Hex of racism, he was absolving all of us of our white guilt along the way.
Thank you, Lance Reddick. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your service.
Well, also playing this weird like Q role where like here's these really fancy weird weapons.
Yo, Brett and I, before the recording, we were talking about Resident Evil 4 and the infinite ammo rocket launcher that you could buy in the game. And the scene in this movie after he gets the 2 special guns from Lance Reddick, like I had just started doing my playthrough with the infinite ammo rocket launcher, and that whole scene I was like, oh man, that's what I'm doing with that rocket launcher in the game, because he's just like, there's 100 dudes, he's just like point shoot boop, point shoot boop, not worried about anything, just blowing everybody up with no regard for anything. And that was me in the game. Just booping my little rocket launcher all over the place.
Which is dumb because he could have done that without explosive crossbow guns.
Yeah, but it was cooler with that though.
I was gonna say, but explosive crossbow guns are awesome.
Cool.
No, look, I would argue no, they aren't.
Okay, all right.
Because like,
that's fair.
Brett, why do you hate fun?
Why do you hate fun?
I don't hate fun. I just
fun for a reason, stranger.
Thank you, Tucker. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
for that. I appreciate that. We got me.
I win.
No, because like, look, if a really badass dude doing really badass shit with a couple of revolvers is like, that's like my fetish. So like, it's just I love it. Like for example, the most recent Dark Tower movie. Was that movie absolute shit and didn't deserve to be anything ever? Yes. But the scene at the end where like he reloads his guns by throwing the bullets into the air and catches them in the barrel, and then
that sounds cool.
It's so fucking badass. Like I just can't. Or the scene in the third John Wick movie where like he finds that antique revolver and has to like jimmy it so that it works, only to shoot one guy with it really quick.
Yeah,
really fucking cool.
I didn't see that one.
It's in the first like 15 minutes of John Wick 3, so you don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want.
Here's the thing about the John Wick movies, though. They rule.
They do.
Interesting side note about The Dark Tower. I've never seen that movie because I was too busy editing that episode as my first episode ever edited for Disenfranchised Podcast.
Well, hey, look at that.
Ever. Because Steven was like, oh, the audio's all fucked up. And I was like, hey, man, I could probably fix that. And now here we are.
And look what we hath wrought.
Look, we did it. We made it, you guys.
And that was the first episode that my partner guested on as well. So
Yeah, dude, I had to piece that motherfucker together. That was difficult.
it,
I'm still not sure it's all correct.
we're not gonna make it easy for you, Tucker. When have we ever made it easy for you?
Sometimes, but mostly you make me watch bad movies I don't like.
Yeah,
And that's not easy.
I know. But then every now and again, you get a Captain America or a Jonah Hex that you get some enjoyment out of.
Jonah Hex, I had a good time, but it's not going to go down in history as like a Tucker movie. It's not something I'm going to be revisiting and like shouting to the heavens about to everyone that I know. It was
Like
fun.
Captain America.
Now, Captain America, that's a good time right there.
That was a fun movie.
I will be watching that again. Faux show.
Brett, have you seen the 1990 Matt Salinger Captain America film?
In bits and pieces on syndicated
dude.
television, but
It's
So
totes
good.
free on YouTube. You should absolutely watch the whole damn thing. It's a good time.
Oh man, I had so much fun with it. Jonah Hex, though, that like I know it's a little too late for that era, but it's definitely like a cable TV movie. Like I'd catch this on cable and be like, "Yo, that was pretty all right. I'm gonna go make a sandwich now."
There are elements of this movie, particularly within the first hour of this film, that I'm having fun with. I know it's not accurate to the comics. Like I get that, but I'm still enjoying Josh Brolin's performance. I'm enjoying the riff on the Wild Wild West motif that they set up here. I'm enjoying that John Malkovich is in a movie. I can tell he's not having fun at all.
What? I thought he was good in this.
He's phoning it in, but he's here. He's doing his Malkovich thing.
He's Malkovich.
And this is like baby Michael Fassbender too. This is like Michael Fassbender right before he hits. Like before he hits. I want to do a little sidebar on Michael Fassbender if I may.
Please do.
Briefly before he becomes Magnetus.
Right. This is honestly like only a year or two before, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Like he's already done Inglourious Bastards. That's the year before, which I had seen him in and I really enjoyed. He's in 300 in 2006, Hunger in 2008. Like he has done his stuff leading up to this. Jonah Hex hits, and then in 2011, the next year, he does Jane Eyre, the Mia Wasikowska Jane Eyre. He does X-Men First Class, and he does the David Cronenberg film A Dangerous Method, where he plays Carl Jung opposite Keira Knightley and Viggo Mortensen.
Wait! Hold on! Stop everything!
Have you never seen A Dangerous Method?
The Philosopher?
Yeah. The psychologist.
Who directed this again?
David motherfucking Cronenberg.
What the fuck? Hold on.
And Viggo Mortensen plays Sigmund Freud.
I'm so into that. That's so up my alley. What's this called again?
It's called A Dangerous Method. Keira Knightley is Sabina Spielrein, who is the woman who is fucking both Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud.
A dangerous what now? Method?
Method. A dangerous method.
How have I never... That's all of those things everything about that interests me.
Yeah.
How have I not heard of this?
It's a good movie.
What the fuck?
I did a Cronenberg watch through in 2022, and it's good. It's solid.
I don't mind interrupting a little bit, but I try not to interrupt that violently and aggressively, Steven. But damn it, I had never heard of that, and I needed to know more.
You need to watch it, Tucker. I put
it on my list. I want
to know your thoughts. Good. I want to know your thoughts. It's a fucking good movie.
Okay.
Then also in 2011, he does the Steve McQueen film Shame, which gets him a ton of like awards buzz and attention.
Not that Steve McQueen, the other Steve McQueen.
Right. The Steve McQueen who gave us 12 Years a Slave.
Yes. That one.
And then the year after that, he does Prometheus. And the year after that, he does 12 Years a Slave, the aforementioned 12 Years a Slave. And then Frank, and then Days of Future Past. And like, he just kind of keeps building momentum, but this is like the last moment where he's kind of ambiguous, where he's kind of like not unknown. And then he just like the next movie he does after this is Jane Eyre, and he just kind of blows up after that.
Yo, Steven, did you see that Fincher movie he was in, The Killer, on Netflix? Boy, that's good as
Not
hell.
yet. Not yet.
Brett,
I
you
need to
seen
watch
that
it.
yet?
I haven't seen it yet. No, I need
Brett,
to.
The Letter Brett, have you seen that yet?
What do you think, Tucker?
Okay, I'll take that as a no. It's really good, you guys. I think you would like it, Brett. You should check it out.
I appreciate you asking me, but you should know
Yes,
the answer to that question.
It is the most recent David Fincher film. It was released on Netflix. It's called The Killer, and it's really good. And I think you'd like it, Brett. I think you'd appreciate it. I think you'd both like it. It's my favorite Fincher movie since, well, for a while, but I didn't see that black and white one. Marv watched
Mank?
that. Yeah,
You haven't
Marv
seen
watched that,
Mank?
and he was like, I haven't seen it, but Marv has, is what I'm saying. Like, how weird is that? I'm the guy showing him movies. Don't get ahead of me, dude. Come on.
Don't tell
get
me,
ahead of
tell him.
Damn, I did. I was like, hey, you need to calm the fuck down. Because I haven't even seen that shit.
It's okay. You can still show him A Dangerous Method once you see it.
I will. It will do a double feature with A Dangerous Mind.
There you
By
go.
George Clooney, starring Sam Rockwell.
That would be a very bad double feature. I just have a feeling.
I do like Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, though. That's a really good movie.
That makes sense.
It's really good. It's based on a true story, kind of, sort of, maybe, depending on who you believe. Yeah. The Gong Show. Anyway,
Jonah Hex.
Jonah Hex.
Who doesn't love Jonah Hex?
You were talking about Michael Fassbender, but I feel like we had kind of gotten to the end of that.
No, we kind of wrapped. Like, this is like Michael Fassbender right before he's getting ready to hit. Like, this is kind of the last thing he does in obscurity. And then the next thing is Jane Eyre, Cary Fukunaga's Jane Eyre, and he just kind of blows up after that.
I'll give it to him. He's a pretty talented fella. And easy on the eyes, too. I don't mind looking at him. I don't mind it at all. Doesn't bother me. No.
If you want to see his dong, watch Shame, because it's all over that movie.
I don't know if I'm that interested. Like, if it serves the story, I'm not going to scoff at it, but I'm not going to.
Charlize Theron,
please show me his dong.
I'm going to quote Charlize Theron here. She said to him at an awards presentation, she said, and I quote, "Your cock was a revelation."
I see. That's
what you want.
I don't know
really.
how to take that.
I mean, if you're Michael Fassbender, you take that very well.
J.K. Simmons, what?
J.K. Simmons, who played Milton Berle in Saturday Night. Let's close that loop, please.
That wasn't his wiener, though. It was a fake wiener.
I haven't seen Saturday Night yet. I know it's on Netflix. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Can I tell a side note? And I don't give a fuck. Look, so this was my weekend, right? Like, Brett's face.
I know.
He was like, the audacity, the nerve of this kid.
Well,
Jesus.
No, it's just like, why did you have to preface it by like, I don't give a fuck, I'm doing a sidebar? Like, we do them all the time.
No, because
Brett's right.
It's nowhere near on topic. There's no segue, anything. I just want to talk about how cool this weekend was. Because Friday night, you had the SNL 50 homecoming concert, which was insane.
It was pretty good.
Where else are you going to see the Backstreet Boys transition into Devo?
Right. The B-52s to the Backstreet Boys to Devo.
Like, and I'll tell you what, like when they were like, and Nirvana with Post Malone, I was like, really? And then I was like, oh shit, okay. Oh, okay.
It's good.
I'm eating my words right now.
With the lights out, this looks dangerous. That's all I can say.
It was all really, really good. And then Saturday night, of course, they aired the premiere episode from the first season during the regular time slot on Saturday night. And so when I got home from work, I watched Saturday night. And that led into the episode. So it was like watching the lead up, the 90 minutes leading up to the episode, and then watching the episode. And it was really cool. It was really, really cool.
But how accurate is the movie, though? Like,
Well, from what I understand, um, the broad strokes are accurate. Some of the details are accurate, but there's a lot played up for entertainment. So we're gonna do a 70-30 is what I would say. Yeah.
70-30 that it's not accurate or accurate?
No, about 70% accurate.
Oh, okay.
Some of it,
Gotcha.
it's just timeline stuff. Like maybe it's something that happened, but it didn't specifically happen, that night. Like maybe it's a fun story from later that they wanted to kind of bring in there for entertainment value. Like there is a lot of truth to it, but it is a film meant to be entertaining, and it's really good. I think the cast in particular is fantastic. It's kind of it's a film fan's film because it's doing crazy things all over the place. Like it's not half-assing anything. Everything is like everybody's doing their best in this movie, and it really shows. And you guys should see it.
Yeah,
I've
I
I
want
saw
to. I didn't know it was
It's
on
on
Netflix.
Netflix.
I
Yeah,
totally gotta watch it. Yeah, for
I
sure.
saw it at the movie theater, and it blew my mind. And then I watched it on Netflix before I watched the first episode. And I was kind of afraid to watch it again because it's such a frantically paced film that I thought that a second viewing wouldn't be as exciting because I knew everything that was going to happen. But it was still really good. Like Ransom. No matter how many times I watch Ransom, I'm still on the edge of my seat, like physically on the edge of my seat during that movie. And Saturday Night is similar to where the momentum isn't killed by repeat viewings.
Cool. Then what'd you think of the 50th anniversary special?
I thought it was fine. Steven and I were talking about this before the record, and I think that the 40th anniversary special really they kind of blew their wad with that one.
It definitely feels that way to me. Like I liked the 50th, but it pales in
good.
comparison to the 40th.
Yeah. 40th was the sweet spot.
It feels like they were searching for content for the 50th because they'd already done all of it at the 40th.
Mm-hmm. Everything that mattered. You had Californians, you had Wayne's World, like you had everything. Everything that had ever, like, I'm not everything that had ever mattered to that point, but the things that people were going to remember and that people were still talking about.
Yeah.
And now there was a mix of a few newer things, which was fun.
I liked the blending of the new and the old for sure.
Yeah, I thought they did that really well on the 40th with the Californian sketch.
Right. But I mean, you get like the Bronx Beat Girls with Linda Richman, which is
that was a highlight for sure.
I told Tucker, like, if we get, as soon as Bronx Beat showed up, I'm like, if Linda Richman doesn't show up, then what are we fucking doing here? But Robert Goulet and Dunice, like, that was really, really fun. Like, that was a really fun pairing. Like, there were really fun, like, generational pairings throughout the night that I thought were really well observed. A few more of those probably would have been better. But
I like the Debbie Downer sketch too.
I wasn't as big a fan of that one, but I'm glad you liked it.
That's all in the. It doesn't matter how those sketches are written. It's all in Rachel Dratch's face and whoever's doing the sound effects. The sound design makes or breaks those sketches.
It does.
And, ooh, they were on it last night, man.
I was talking to my
meow.
I was talking to my partner, and she's like, it works better when it's like a celebratory kind of thing. So having her as a bartender, even though it is like, hey, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live, it kind of fell flat because what's she doing? She's just getting them drinks. Like it, I don't know. It didn't work as well for me. I thought it was fine, and I'm glad to see Dratch doing something. But yeah,
absolutely. Some people were doing a lot more than others. Like Eddie Murphy was like in almost every other sketch.
Eddie
which
Murphy
is great.
fucking
making
killed
up for
it.
lost time.
Right.
Because
Murphy fucking killed it. I was so thrilled with everything they gave him to do.
I'm really glad that that he kind of feels comfortable there again, because the episode that he hosted a couple years ago was really, really good. And they
Agreed.
brought back all of those characters without it feeling forced or like
Right.
nostalgia bait. Like it really fit in with what they were doing on the show at the time as well.
And his sketches last night, or I guess from the 50th show, were probably my favorites. Like, I loved him doing Tracy Morgan in front of Tracy Morgan. That was amazing.
Unexpected.
Unexpected,
sure.
but absolutely like slam dunk. And then the Scared Straight, that sketch might have been my favorite one from last night.
That was Will Ferrell was putting a lot of effort into everything he did last night, but I think that came off the best. Like, he really nailed it in that sketch. Like, the Robert Goulet was fun. I like him as Robert Goulet. But I didn't think the idea was that fresh, but I really liked him in Scared Straight.
My favorite joke of the night was when Eddie Murphy's like, they call me all the way Ray, or whatever his name was, because I don't do anything halfway, and only half of his hair is in cornrows and the other half is this giant, completely untamed afro. Yes. And they just like let it sit for a second while the audience just like catches up to it, and it's such a great moment. Again, probably my favorite joke of the performance.
Hooray for live television. Yeah.
Hooray.
Dying art. Good job, you guys.
We did it, everybody.
We did it.
Jonah Hex. No, we're talking about Jonah Hex.
Anybody in Jonah Hex? Was anybody that was in Jonah Hex at the SNL 50th celebration last night? Maybe Josh Brolin.
I was going to say he might have been there, but he wasn't in anything.
Might have. No.
Well, there was a lot of people that were there that weren't in anything.
Right.
True.
Including former cast members like Billy Crystal.
Yeah.
Who they kept cutting to in the audience. And John Lovitz.
What's across the street?
In the American Girl doll stuff.
I love how much they disrespect him. It's fantastic.
It's the best. It's the best. Like, I'm not mad. I just want to know why. While he's like sipping tea with a bunch of American Girl dolls. Yeah, phenomenal. Like, this is kind of, again, I feel like this movie is really bizarre in a lot of ways. Like, we get Megan Fox in this movie. Megan Fox would later say this is the worst movie that she's ever done, and
I don't know.
I'd
take this over a Transformer any day. Transformer.
You know, honestly, same.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm a Michael Bay apologist, and still I don't do them Transformer.
This comes
hot garbage.
No thanks.
This comes the year after Jennifer's Body, which for my money is
that's so good.
Best thing she's ever done.
Yes, 100%.
She's fantastic in it too.
That movie is there is no false beat in that movie. That movie is amazing. It is a massive.
The two leads carry that film. Without those two gals, you don't have a movie.
It's perfection.
They carry it on their shoulders.
Such an incredible movie. But then after this is kind of her last movie for a while. She does like some like Passion Play, The Trip, Friends with Kids, The Dictator, Wedding Band. Before she does, like, Judd Apatow kind of reclaims her a little bit for This Is 40 in 2012. And then after that, she's in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. Like, but this is kind of the end of her initial, like, Megan Fox is the next big thing, hottest woman on the planet run, really, is this movie. And it feels like she gets it because she's hot, not because she's really the right person for the film. And honestly, if there is a weak link in this movie, I think it's her performance. And I feel bad saying that because I know for a long time she was just like the picture of like hotness or whatever. And I don't want to objectify her, and I'm not going to, but like, I just don't feel like her performance really lands in this movie.
Well, I don't think she had really anything to work with. I mean, she's not
Correct.
bad. She's not
No.
bad in this movie. There's just nothing really for her to do. Like, she hits the beats. Like, she's a professional. She comes in and clocks in and does her thing. And it's fine, but the character's just nothing. It
Yeah.
doesn't serve any purpose but for there to be a lady in there for him to have to rescue at the end.
Right. She's a
That's it.
prostitute, and then later she shoots guns.
Which another, like, I really like the idea of her character. Strong woman prostitute that you find out is like a crack shot, and like maybe they can have some adventures and shit. But they just squander that by like they turn her into, first she's a badass, and then she's a damsel in distress. Like, make up your
Right.
fucking mind. Like, you can't have a character like that just serves the scene. Like, whatever you need them for, their abilities and personality completely change.
You build her up as a badass at the beginning of the movie with like I bought you fair and square and I'm not much to being owned, like all that stuff like that happens at the beginning of the movie.
She's a feisty one for sure.
And then as soon as Michael Fassbender's freak show of a character shows up, she's like completely powerless, and then doesn't do anything to try to escape, doesn't do anything to try to, like, she's only as good as whatever weapon she happens to have stashed on her person at any given time.
She goes from Barbara 1990 to Barbara 1968. And how do you do that? Like, that's not a great transition. She's
No.
completely helpless at the end of this movie. Catatonic almost.
Right.
Just sitting there like, oh gosh, hope this guy doesn't kill me. Cool. I'm just a prop at this point.
But she
I had such a good
definitely
introduction, and now I'm just a fucking prop.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do with me now. I'm just here.
It's like a bunch of men. It's like I'm the only woman in this production.
Right? Golly.
This production full of misogynistic, like, late aughts assholes.
She's the Carol Cleveland of Jonah Hex.
There it is.
Is what she is.
Cool. I didn't miss anything. I didn't know.
Yeah. No.
No, the ending, honestly, the beginning, like the first hour of this movie, I feel like is the part with the most promise. Like that part, I think it sets itself up well. Like we have a good setup for the movie. And then by the end, it's just like, what the fuck are we even doing here at this point? Like it's a very stock standard ending. Like the bad guy starts to blow stuff up, the heroes figure out a way to get around it, and then it's over. Like that's basically how the movie ends. You didn't really miss much because it's every superhero movie ending up to that point. Like this movie comes at a really weird space for DC comic movies because it is the year after, it's 2 years after The Dark Knight, the year after Watchmen, and the year before Green Lantern. Like kind of where it falls in that breakdown is just super weird. Like DC's in the middle. This movie literally comes right between The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises.
I'd rather watch this than Green Lantern.
I mean,
Hot
yes.
take.
No, not that hot.
No, even I would agree with that.
Like Green Lantern was the one that was supposed to kickstart the new like shared universe franchise. But like Nolan's doing his successful Batman thing, and I feel like DC puts the shared universe on hold while Nolan's doing his thing until he's done, and then they're like, now we can start the shared universe. But I don't understand why you choose Jonah Hex as the one to make the movie out of. Like with all the DC superheroes that have just never gotten movies up to this point, like why do you pick Jonah Hex as the one to like jump into?
Now, the reason I would pick him, and I haven't seen the budget on this movie, so I'm speculating here. I'm probably wrong, but because you could do Jonah Hex the best cheap. Because as long as it's it's just strictly Jonah Hex. Like, if they spend a lot of money on this movie, I'm gonna be mad.
Like, how much money would you say is too much money for this movie, Tucker?
In 2010, oh god, if they spent more than 50 million on this, but I'll bet they spent more than 100 million on it, didn't they?
They didn't.
How much?
47.
Okay, this is a $47 million movie, and that's the thing. It's Jonah Hex. It's low tech. Like, you got some CG shots and shit, but it's all analog, man. Dusters and cowboy hats and revolvers. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't have people flying around. You don't have people shooting lasers. There's no big monsters.
You have pretty
There's a
orange
few
balls.
effects. There's a few effects, but they're easy and they're cheap.
You get trains exploding. You get cities blowing up.
I liked Michael Fassbender when he was just kind of chilling there on the track, just waiting. And it just got closer, and he didn't care.
Mm-mm.
He knew how long it was going to take him.
He knew exactly how long.
People were getting worried, but I believed in him.
That's his whole again. Like, he's really good at playing freaky little weirdos, and it's something he doesn't now that he's like a household name. And we'll cover another Michael Fassbender movie here within the next month.
What is it? Oh, I know what it is.
Calendar. You know exactly what it is.
I know what it is, and I don't want to see it. Hopefully, it'll surprise me. Ah, well, I never.
Brett picked that movie specifically for you, Tucker.
I need to see it. It's possible it could be a Tucker movie.
Look, I didn't pick it because of Tucker. I picked it because it's one of the few video game movies I'll defend.
Oh, okay.
It's up there with the first Silent Hill.
Team Brett. Oh, that first Silent Hill's good as hell, though, Brett. Like, there's no denying that.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Damn, it's so good. It's a whole mood. As the kids would say these days, it's a whole motherfucking vibe. The first Silent Hill movie. Ooh, wee. Yeah. It's you enter that atmosphere. You turn it on, and
until The Last of Us TV series came out, I did say the first Silent Hill movie was the best video game adaptation, but not anymore. Last of Us just kind of blew that shit right out of the
Should I see the second one, Brett?
The second what?
The Silent Hill movie?
No, you don't need to.
Okay, all right.
There's a new one coming out.
We'll cover it for Unenfranchised one of these days.
Yeah, there's another one coming out based on Silent Hill 2.
Oh, cool. People like Silent Hill 2.
They do.
Is it connected to the first film, or is it a complete reboot?
I think it's a complete reboot. Just because Silent Hill 2 isn't connected to the first Silent Hill at all.
So we wouldn't even have to do an unenfranchised on it, Steven. We could just do a disenfranchised. Because it's its own thing. I mean, it's in the same franchise, but it's not a sequel.
Well, no, I mean the new one. No, okay, so we're getting confused. The Silent Hill 2, the video game, is not connected to the first Silent Hill movie.
But the second movie is connected.
The second
to the first movie
is loosely based on Silent Hill 3, which is connected to the first Silent Hill game.
So, wait a minute, but you're not answering my question. Are the first two films canonically connected in any way?
No.
Okay, then we could do every single one of them as a franchise.
According to Wikipedia, it says the film was produced as a sequel to Silent Hill 2006.
So that's why it's confusing because, so the main character of Silent Hill 3 is the little girl from Silent Hill 1.
Yep. For the game, you have to be specific. The little girl from the first Silent Hill game.
Yes.
Got it.
Silent Hill 3, the game, the main character is the teenage girl of the girl from the first Silent Hill game.
Time jump, yeah.
Yes. So the movies, they skipped over adapting Silent Hill 2, the game, and went straight to 3. So Silent Hill 2, the movie, is based on Silent Hill 3, the game.
I see.
And
Are you still with me? Probably not.
I'm still with you. No, I see. Silent Hill 2, the game, is Halloween 3.
Yes.
Silent Hill and Silent Hill 3 are Halloween 2 and 4. Is what you're telling me.
So Silent Hill, the first game, is Halloween.
Sure.
Silent Hill 2 is Halloween 3.
Okay, yeah.
And then Silent Hill 3 is Halloween 2.
But no, because okay, Brett. Sure, yeah. Either way is fine. I think
Look,
either
man, it
way
doesn't
is
make any
fair.
fucking sense, all right? Like, Silent Hill's supposed to be this anthology. Like, it's a lot like Halloween, actually. Silent
Yeah,
Hill is
dude.
supposed to be this anthology series that does not follow a specific person. It's just centered around the town. But, like, for some reason, they had to go back and... Because people love Silent Hill 2, the game.
You know what? I'd never played any of them. Eventually, I played one on the Xbox 360 called Silent Hill Homecoming, and that sucked.
Yeah, pretty much all
So
of them after 3 suck.
my only experience with the series is a big suck.
Yeah, everything after Silent Hill 3 sucks.
So, which I think they're gonna remake some of them, right?
They've remade the Silent Hill 2 game. That is out. That
Should
is
I play
to
that?
Be played.
Should I play it?
Sure, I've heard good things about it.
Okay.
I was a Resident Evil fan, so
Yeah, that's
therefore
fair.
I never played Silent Hill.
But did you play Dino Crisis?
No, never played Dino
Okay,
Crisis either.
that's fair.
I think that's because I played the first Dino Crisis for a little bit and was like, this is way too fucking hard. What the fuck? And I just never played it again.
Fair. Yeah.
So like, there's a big fucking difference between zombies and dinosaurs. What the fuck? And
Dinos are fast.
Yeah, I never played it after that because I wasn't a fan. I played the first Silent Hill.
Yeah.
And never finished it. But I dug it.
Word.
Kinda.
I really liked that movie. I sure did. That first one.
Yeah.
Real good. Real good.
But anyway, how did we get here?
Who knows?
I don't remember.
Alluding to the fact that we're covering a Michael Fassbender movie next month.
Oh, right. Yeah. The Creed of Asses is a good video game adaptation, mainly because it's approved. I'll talk about this more. It is approved by the company that makes the franchise. And
that's the Ubisoft.
Said, it is Ubisoft, yes. And it is, they consider it canon to the games, which is like unheard of.
Hey, Brett,
so,
do you think... Well, they're not an American company. Is there a North American Ubisoft? Because they have like France and like Barcelona and
I don't know. They might have at
all
one
the
time.
Other places.
They've had a ton of different studios. I don't know if there's ever been one in America.
I always really appreciated the little blurb before the games where it's like all of our developers are some diverse motherfuckers from some diverse backgrounds. And they all have some shit to say about this, so please enjoy. I was like going into it being like, yeah, dude, I'm into that.
That is pretty cool. Yeah.
Let's play those perspectives.
And boy, sure. I can't wait to get into how much that series shit the bed.
Well, anyway. I'll tell you what, there are differing opinions on this because you see, my roommate and ex-wife, she introduced me to the series, which is something we'll talk about on the episode. But very briefly, she is now a fan of the newer types of Assassin's Creed games that all the OG fans don't like, which makes her kind of weird because she has grown with the series instead of kind of wishing that it would be what it was instead of being these long ass open world RPGs and shit.
My complaints are story based.
Oh,
we'll get into that more later. You can't. I'll just say you can't set up a really good story for 3 games and then absolutely throw that story out the window in the 4th one. So, but anyway, that's we'll get into that later. Let's talk about Jonah.
Yeah,
Hex.
I think I might see if I can get a voice note from her for that episode.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Anyway, Jonah Hex. You guys, whatever. Who cares about Jonah Hex?
Yeah, Jonah Hex never been in a video game, as far as I'm aware. Even being a DC character, I don't think he's ever been in a video game.
Like I said, I had a good time. I had a good time watching this movie, but I don't give a fuck about this at all, you guys. I don't care.
No, go read Jonah Hex comics. I'll just leave it at that.
I actually, and this movie had kind of an Artemis Fowl reaction to me, like Brett, you'll remember in our early episode on Artemis Fowl, you're like, this movie makes me want to go read the books because I know the books have to be better than this. Like, I have Jonah Hex comics queued up on my DC Infinite app because I'm like, the Jonah Hex comics have to be better than this movie. And I kind of want to know why they're good. So I actually have the Jimmy Palmiotti, Justin Gray run on Jonah Hex like queued up and ready to go from like the early aughts, like 2006.
Also, Steven, don't forget to check out Batman Brave and the Bold. Another reminder here. This may be a consecutive week that I've reminded you to watch that show because Jonah Hex does show up a few times.
He also shows up in the OG animated Batman the Animated Series.
Does he really?
That I do. I actually do remember that episode. Yeah.
I have that whole series on the DVDs. I got it.
Jonah Hex fights Batman multiple times and beats him
as
multiple
he
times.
should. Well,
now to be fair, is Batman sort of fucked up both of the times, like the two or three times they fight? Yes, but still,
not many people can say
really
they
all that
beat
matters.
The Batman. It's like Bane, and that's it. Like there's nobody else.
Some production notes on this movie. Tom Jane really wanted to play Jonah Hex to the extent that he like got himself made up to look like Jonah Hex and took pictures as kind of a proof of concept.
I think he would have been fine. I think Josh Brolin doesn't do bad in this movie, but
he's good.
Very interchangeable.
He's probably the best part of this movie.
There are many actors of his age and build that would do just as well. Like, it feels weird because normally when I'm speaking, about actors filling certain roles, it's like, oh man, nobody else could have done that. But like Josh Brolin was good, but I feel like anybody really in the light of Usual Suspects around that time would have.
They also looked at Matthew McConaughey and Emile Hirsch for the lead role.
I don't know about McConaughey. Maybe.
No. I think he could pull it off.
I'm gonna say no, but also I'd be open to seeing what he does with it.
I think he's a good enough actor. I think he could pull it off. Hirsch, I think, is a little too young. Personally. So Neville Dean and Taylor, who are the guys who had done the movie Crank. I think that was kind of their big movie up to that point.
They did that Ghost Rider too, that second Ghost Rider movie that's fucking wild. That movie's batshit insane, you guys. They're throwing cameras off of cliffs, dude.
They did Crank and Gamer, that movie Gamer with Gerard Butler and Michael J. Hall. They did that one. Did direct Spirit of Vengeance, The Vatican Tapes, Panama. Like, they have a number of credits to their name. But they were the original directors attached. And then sometime during pre-production, they split due to those ever elusive creative differences.
Yo, did nobody think, hey, let's call Robert Rodriguez? What the fuck?
That feels like an obvious choice.
Come on. The whole time I watched this movie, I was like, what would make this probably about at least 15% better consecutively if Robert Rodriguez had directed it.
100%. Warner Brothers gave them 2 weeks to find a director, during which time they landed Jimmy Hayward. At various points, they had also looked at other directors, TV director. What was his name? Andy starts with an F. F-I-C. I'm looking up his name right now. Hang on. Give me 1 second.
Come on.
I'm getting there. Andy Fickman.
There you go.
Considered Andy Fickman, mostly a TV director, and McG was also considered at one point.
McG apologist here.
You are.
Shout out to Supernatural one more time.
Yeah, dude.
Josh Brolin really wanted to try to get Park Chan-wook to direct the film. Because
That's familiar. Who's that?
Old Boy?
I know that. Oh yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
He wanted something that looked and felt a little more like High Plains Drifter. Was what Josh Brolin was hoping for. Brolin apparently initially really hated the script, and then kind of started to grow on him, and particularly his more he thought it felt more tongue in cheek, and so he liked that aspect of it, and was hoping that
Jonah Hex can only do that on one side. Hey,
there it is.
What you did there.
But yeah, I really wanted, and his love for Park Chan-wook really explains why he did the Spike Lee version of Old Boy.
Did we lose Steven?
I'm right here.
Possible time this could happen.
I'm right here. I'm talking.
But, you know, if he's still talking, I'm assuming. And if
yeah,
he is, and
sure am.
Point, like when his
let's keep all this in the episode
uploads,
just the way it is. Oh, of course, my server is.
Good.
Am I okay? Am I back now?
He sure is making a silly face.
See, now
right
you
now.
guys
Look
are
at this
still.
goober.
I could hear and see both of you guys before. Now I can't hear or see.
That's
either.
always my big fear. Is if I freeze and I'm like, wow,
yeah.
God, I gotta timestamp this shit. Jeez Louise, we almost made it. Almost made it without an edit. Nobody even said.
5 minutes later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's you.
Just you, buddy.
I mean, we're all here now, so.
Yep.
Steven, you were talking about how like you love this movie secretly and you'll defend it to your death. So anyway, you were gonna do the box office, I think, next.
Yeah, and fortunately, all that audio was lost to the annals of
it's
space.
Weird that like you didn't say any of that like on a live mic. It's like I don't know why you don't got to keep it to yourself, man. Like
and yet I will continue to do so. That's just how that works.
Look, man,
that's how it goes.
It's your problem.
Oh, I am still gonna have to. Okay, never mind. Go ahead. Making mental editing notes.
You can write those down, you know.
I don't need to. I don't need to timestamp it because when I said it was right before. It was right before we cut off, and since I said it now within the first minute, like I'm good. I'll remember to cut that shit. I should probably write it down.
Yeah, you probably should, because then I'm also gonna bring up.
Son of a bitch! You know what? I read an article last week that's like, "Hey, we think that if you smoke marijuana, it makes your memory bad." And I was like, "Oh, really?" You don't say.
Oh,
that's the whole joke. Sorry.
That's it. So Jonah Hex made on a $47 million budget, as we previously mentioned. It opens on June 18th, 2010. It opens at number 7.
Damn.
Which is, yeah.
Nobody cared. Why? Like, again, why did they choose Jonah Hex? It's a DC character nobody cared about.
That's it. Like in 2000, there was like an hour-long TV special they were trying to get done. That never happened. So I think they had the movie rights and that eventually got optioned. Did you guys notice that Matt LeBlanc is a executive producer on this movie?
Was he going to be in the TV show? Was
he
going to be Jonah Hex?
It was one of those things, like there's a quote from him on the IMDb trivia. I'm going to find it because it's actually like a really funny quote. Matt LeBlanc credited as an executive producer. In a 2011 interview with the Los Angeles Times, he explained how it came to be. The way that went down is so bizarre. When I did Joey, the spinoff from Friends, along with that deal was a production deal at Warner Brothers. So I had my own production company, which I didn't really enjoy. If I could go back, I would have looked to develop only projects for myself so that I had a vested interest in the thing and maybe I would have enjoyed it more. But to develop shows just to be a producer, it's a lot of meetings that amount to nothing. And Jonah Hex was one of them. It went away and then it came back after my company had shut its doors, but I still owned the rights to it as a producer. So I got this credit and fee and was like, hey, right on.
Nice.
Good for him.
Oh, but that's cool though. You're like, oh man, Joey didn't do anything and what am I going to do now? And nobody wants to cast me. Oh shit, I'm getting a few Jonah Hex checks.
He He had a good run on that show, that British show Episodes. If you haven't seen that, check that out. He's very funny on that
I
show.
probably won't.
Yeah, and yet you expect me to watch 10 fucking seasons of Supernatural? Fuck you.
Yes.
Well, you watch Batman Brave and the Bold first. You ease your way into it, you know. Plastic Man, Steven, come on.
I love it, dude. I'll watch the Plastic Man episodes. Opening at number one on June 18th, 2010 is Toy Story, which opens to $110 million in its opening weekend. Toy Story 3.
Cool.
In second place, a potential future episode of this podcast, The Karate Kid. In its second weekend is earned over $107 million.
No. They're making that new Karate Kid with Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio. That counts as a sequel to all of the Karate Kids, including the Jaden Smith one. Okay? So we can't... We should have already done it. I would like to do it, but...
we were saving it for when the new movie came out.
You can't do that because that new movie's a sequel to the movie that we would be covering. Therefore, we would have to do a disenfranchised and then a reenfranchised and look like idiots more so than usual.
At number 3, a movie we're definitely going to cover one day, The A-Team.
Yeah. Okay.
In fourth place, a very weird pseudo sequel, Get Him to the Greek.
Oh yeah, spin-off sequel sort of.
Yeah, spin-off of Forgetting Sarah Marshall. A lot.
No, yeah, it's more of a genre thing usually.
In fifth place, Shrek Forever After, the final Shrek film. In sixth place, previous episode of this podcast, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
Oh, I'm so glad I didn't have to watch that movie.
That was like an early that was like first 10 episodes of the podcast episode. Yeah.
Pretty sure.
So lucky.
Alfred Molina's in that, and I remember us both really liking Alfred Molina.
Oh yeah, as long as whenever Alfred Molina's on screen, it's a fun time. But other than that, not really. But look, that'll set us up nice for next month.
Yeah. In seventh place, Jonah Hex, the movie we've just been kind of talking around.
Sort of.
In eighth place, Killers. In ninth place, Iron Man 2. And in 10th place, another future episode of this podcast, Marmaduke. Not the one we've already covered, but another one.
The live action one. What's this Killers? What's that?
Killers is a film. It's Ashton Kutcher and Katherine Heigl.
Oh yeah, no thanks.
So it is by definition a cursed film.
I already said no thanks. It's crazy. We're still talking about it.
The only time you're going to catch me watching anything Ashton Kutcher is in is if it's Butterfly Effect. Thank you very much.
Or that 70s show. Or that 90s show when he shows up for a minute.
Not even those, honestly. I couldn't care less about Ashton Kutcher.
You guys,
Butterfly Effect is good. You can fuck right off.
Here. It is good. Brett, I'm with you on that. Ethan Suplee and that motherfucker. What?
Oh, hell yeah. Ethan Suplee, fantastic. What's the
Does it make
name?
sense?
What's
Not really, but gosh, it's so cool.
Amy Smart.
Amy Smart, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, dudes.
But yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense. But is it a fun time? It's sort of like a time travel
movie?
Yeah.
Do you prefer the original ending or the theatrical ending, Brett?
I like the original ending.
Me too. It's so dumb, but I really
because it's so dumb. Yes,
that's one of those movies that it's so dumb, but it works with its dumbness. It knows how dumb it is, and it works within the parameters of that dumbness to make just a fantastic. I really love that movie.
It's good. It's good stuff.
It's real good.
It got a sequel somehow, so we could never cover it.
It's got 2 sequels, direct to video, both of them.
I forgot that it got 2 sequels. That's crazy. But anyway, carry on, Steven.
Number 9. No, you already did number 9.
We're done. Yeah, we're done.
Yeah, we did the top 10. Thanks for following along. This movie opened at number 7 to $5.4 million.
My God.
On its way to 10.5 million domestic.
Damn, it doubled its opening weekends.
Whoa.
It gets another
multiplier.
It gets another 476 million or 1,000, sorry, international for a
Jeez.
worldwide box office total of $11
Oh
million.
no! And nobody watched that shit on video either. Nobody gives a fuck
No.
about that movie.
This is what we call a cataclysmic bomb.
Yeah.
The tomatometer score is a 12%. The critics' consensus, Josh Brolin gives it his best shot, but he can't keep the short, unfocused Jonah Hex from collapsing on the screen. I will say this is also Josh Brolin, like shortly after his Oscar nomination for No Country for Old Men, which came out in 2007. So this is just a few years after that. Like, oof. It's a good thing he was able to. He had True Grit coming out later the same year, which I think is the thing that saved him. Because the other movies he did in 2010 were Wall Street: Money Never Sleeps, and the Woody Allen film You Will Meet a Tall Dark Stranger. So True Grit really saved his year after that, I would say.
I feel like he wasn't really in True Grit that much.
But he's really good in it. He's like the primary villain of that movie.
Yeah, but he's barely there.
But when he is there, it matters.
I suppose you're
And then he was Thanos. Wasn't that cool? Anyway.
Maybe when he was Thanos.
And then Cable.
Oh, yeah.
He's
so skinny to be Cable.
The Metascore for Jonah Hex is a 33 based on generally unfavorable reviews from 32 critics. Tucker, care to take a stab at the Letterboxd score?
Letterboxd ain't fucking with this movie. I'm going to put this between a 2.6 and a 3.0. And I'm high.
You're very high. It's a 1.8.
Yeah. Damn it, Letterboxd.
Why'd you go so high? That was crazy.
That's wild.
You're better than that. You're better than this.
The memes, man. The memes. I just figured the memes would pump.
No, this doesn't feel like a memeable movie.
This is not a movie you meme.
No.
Okay.
There are only 210 5-star ratings versus 1-star ratings. There are 7,263.
Let it be known that for the past several times, I have been right on the money guessing Letterboxd. So
yeah, everybody has their off days. Even Michael Jordan has off days.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Brett, out of 5 stars, how many are you giving to Jonah Hex?
1.
Tucker?
I have nothing else to say. 1.
This gets a 2.5 because it's not good, but it was a good time. That if I hadn't been doing this podcast, I would have forgotten the second it was over.
It's a 1.5 for me. Just because I kind of enjoyed the first half. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know that I would ever go much higher than that, honestly.
Yeah, I might have given it a 1.5 had I not had, a connection to the source material,
which I really didn't. And now I will be reading Jonah Hex comics before I go to bed tonight. That is the thing I will be doing.
And this movie's done its job then. It has made you hate it so much that you have to go read the comics.
Just to cleanse the bad taste of this film from my mouth.
Yeah, dude, yeah.
I think that's our episode, guys. That is our episode on 2010's Jonah Hex. Tune in next week for our very final episode of this theme month. Brett's already told us what next theme month is, so buckle up for that. That's going to be fun.
I haven't. I just told you what we're covering in the first week. Maybe you can extrapolate what the rest of the month is based on that one.
And we never explicitly said it. We danced around it and implied, even talked about it. We never actually said the name of the film or the franchise. The film
was never uttered.
No, but you know what the theme month is going to be.
Maybe.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, we do. They don't. Probably.
I'm so excited for next week. Brett, I hope you can join us for that one.
Me too.
We'll give it a shot.
I know you've got some stuff planned, but yeah, we're gonna it's gonna be a fun week. It's gonna be a fun record.
Sure.
And we have a guest lined up for that episode, and it's a returning guest that we're very excited to have back.
So
And
many guests I'm so excited about in the next 3 weeks. So many.
We only have one guest
3.
in the next 3 weeks.
Or the next 3 guests.
I will be the guest.
I'm excited. Brett counts. Until he does 2 consecutive episodes, Brett counts.
Fair enough. Touche.
I'll take it.
At any rate, this find us on the internet wherever you get your podcasts. Find us on social media at YouTube and Letterboxd and Bluesky at disenfranchpod. Shoot us an email, disenfranchpod@gmail.com. Leave us a review and a rating over at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you get your podcast to help us find other listeners just like you. And don't forget to join the official conversation of the Disenfranchised podcast. You can join for free and get main feed episodes directly into your Patreon feed that you can comment on and talk directly to your friends, Tucker and I, as we are both fairly active on there. And we just had a comment from past and future guest patron Andy Greetings over there as well.
We like that guy.
Yeah, we do. He's a good dude.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah, and you can comment on to him as well. He's over there. So yeah, join at the free, or for $5 a month, you can also get access to all of our behind the scenes Patreon content, more of which is coming at some point. Nebulous, just whenever we can find the fucking time to record that shit, we'll get it recorded for you. And
just know that the Patreon is very important to me. It's very important to get content up there. So the fact that we haven't put anything up there in a while, and it's taking us a while between, means I just want people to know that it's not for lack of wanting to. We want to do this.
We do have lives outside of this podcast, and unfortunately a lot of times they get in the way. We do get very busy, and our schedule it feels like it's harder than ever to align all 3 of our schedules these days.
Well, I'll tell you, we had a good run there where we were doing consistent Patreon stuff, but it's the last about year or so it just hasn't really aligned, but I'm confident that it will again in the future. There will be another surge.
There's got to be a morning after. Speaking of morning after, you can find me, your host Stephen Foxworthy, on social media at Chewy Walrus on Bluesky and Letterboxd. I'm pretty much abandoning Meta at this point. I've already abandoned X, so it's just those 2 platforms. Brett, if we were to want to find you on social media, where might we go about doing that?
You can't anymore.
Ha! Take that, social media.
Not even Letterboxd?
I don't ever update it.
Touche. There it is.
Well, I say I don't ever update it, but I don't watch movies anymore. I don't know when this happened. Jonah Hex is the first movie I've watched in maybe a month or 2.
Holy shit.
But wait, can I DM you on Letterboxd and you'd get it and respond to it?
Yeah.
Well, then you're
probably
on there. You're on there.
I mean, I don't know if I get notifications for Letterboxd.
Look,
I might not see it until next year sometime.
Brett, if I post something on Letterboxd, I guarantee you would get a notification.
Does Letterboxd have DMs? I don't think they do.
I have no idea. I don't
think it does.
They banned my account for some reason, so I just gave up on it 2 years ago.
So if you want to follow my Letterboxd, it's Sus Warlock. In case I update it, maybe once every other month or so.
Yeah, who knows?
If I remember after I watch a movie, sure, do that. Otherwise, I'm nowhere to be found on the internet anymore.
I love your commitment to it, Brett.
Yeah. Fuck social media. It's a cancer. And I mean, I'm on Facebook only because I need to be for work.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for work, then I would not be on Facebook anymore either. But So other than that, fuck social media, burn it to the ground. I hate it all. It's a cancer for a number of reasons.
Yeah, fuck TikTok.
Steven knows one reason in particular that I posted about recently when I showed back up on Blue Sky briefly.
Yeah.
Rant about it.
TikTok.
I don't know any details, but it sounds like a fucking mess. And
It is. Yeah, I'm real pissed off about it. And look, I am on TikTok, but that's just because it's the easiest place to doom scroll.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's not like Brett or I are really posting content on TikTok. Like we're there, but we're not posting content. So
No,
like,
I
don't
don't
fucking
count that
follow us
either.
there.
But you
Yeah,
guys,
you're not gonna get
feeding
anything.
The machine, man.
So
You're feeding the machine, dude.
I'm not feeding anything to the machine other
Yeah,
than my
dude.
finger swiping up and down.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm not.
Hey,
Yeah,
speaking of machine feeding, Tucker, where are you feeding the machine these days?
Yeah, man.
Nowhere, dude. No, I'm on
Bullshit.
You know your boy's on YouTube, right? But also, I'm technically still on Instagram. I don't know what's up with that.
You're the only one of us still on Instagram, by the way.
Which is crazy to
Right?
considering how much you
It's
used to
only-
hate Instagram.
Right?
I still hate Instagram. I hate it more than anything in the world. But Tuck Mugs, I feel very strongly about Tuck Mugs. And I don't know what I'm doing with it, but
Maybe we should move Tuck Mugs to Blue Sky for the time being.
We'll have to talk about that. Oh my god, you guys, my volume went down a whole lot.
I didn't do it.
But did you notice it?
No.
I didn't really notice it, no.
But now I'm louder, right?
You're like really epically loud now.
Significantly louder to where I should be. Okay, I'll timestamp that. Get with me about that though, because I would like to move it, but I don't know anything about no Bluesky. So let's have a little band meeting about it. Not tonight because I have to pee and like it's late.
All right.
But soon.
Well, in that case, let's just call it. Let's call it. That is Jonah Hex.
I didn't say what my handle was on these social medias, Stephen. I just
Look,
said
you're the one that has to pee.
Please.
I'm trying to help you.
One moment, please. On on YouTube and Instagram for now, I am Ice909. That's ICENINE, the number 0 and the number 9. And Tuck Mugs is on Instagram at Tuck_Mugs. When we do decide to move it or whatever we decide to do with it, I will post something on Tuck Mugs on Instagram about that so everyone will know where to go and what to do so you can remain a part of the community, the Tuck Mugs community. All 35 of us.
There are dozens of us. Dozens.
Yeah, dude. That's like 3 dozen, dude.
That's dozen. That's plural. That counts.
Which really briefly I have to mention, that's the reason I couldn't take his character seriously in this movie. What's his name?
Tuck Mugs?
That was in Arrested Development.
Oh, Will Arnett?
Oh,
Will Arnett. I could not take Will Arnett seriously in this entire fucking movie.
Who took the role because he doesn't get offered any dramatic roles, and yet you can't take him seriously as a dramatic actor because all he does is comedy.
That's true.
Like, that's the great irony. I think he did too. He did a great job.
He showed up and did the work.
Yeah,
sure. He read his lines. Yeah, sure. Anyway.
He read his lines.
He read his lines.
Didn't act them, just read them. Literally, you can see him with his script in hand and the reading glasses perched in the bottom of his nose, literally reading the words off the page.
That'd have been hilarious if we done that in the movie.
They got cue card guys.
And with that, my friends, that is our episode on Jonah Hex. For my intrepid co-host, Brett Wright and Tucker, until next time, I'm your host, Stephen Foxworthy, saying yippee-ki-yay, motherfuckers.
There's not like any quote in the. You had quotes for our introductions, Stephen, but you
I
didn't
did, but like, what the
an
fuck?
intro or a stinger.
This is not a quotable movie. Like, it's really not. I'm sorry to say.
You'd be like, "Oh, don't kill my family." Ah.
And one of the best lines is straight out of the comics where they ask him what happened to his face. He's like, "I cut myself shaving." That's right out of the comics.
Hey,
there you go.
There it is. I like that one.
That's good. Yeah. So until next time, I cut myself shaving. There you go.
The end. Good job.
Fuck it. Whatever. Bye, guys.